Well, today is known as World Food Day.
It's celebrated every year worldwide on October 16th to commemorate the date of the founding of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in 1945.
And it's not only about celebrating the amazing food that people have the privilege of indulging in, but it's also about raising awareness for people who do not have such a privilege. People all over the world suffer from hunger, and starvation is a massive problem in a number of countries and even here in South Dakota. The day is one step closer to raising awareness and combating this problem.
One organization you can't forget about on a day like today is Feeding South Dakota.
This morning we're joined by Stacy Ardernock with Feeding South Dakota to talk a little bit about the day.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you tell us a little bit about the importance of World Food Day?
Yes, so it's just an opportunity for every country to individually not only celebrate the foods that we have access to, but to talk about the number of people in our country and in our states that don't have access to food and who are lacking that ability to have a nutritious diet.
How does Feeding South Dakota kind of play into raising awareness and combating this problem?
So there are nearly 72,900 people in South Dakota that face food insecurity or go hungry every single day. And so we work hard across the state with different programs to help people have access to food, whether that be in the metro areas like Sioux Falls and Rapid City, or even in rural areas that have extra issues with food access.
And on a day like today, somebody might want to give back or support Feeding South Dakota. How can they do so?
Well, the number one thing we could always use are volunteers. We would not be able to do the work that we do across the state without having volunteer help. So we do have volunteer shifts available at all 3 of our distribution centers, as well as many of our mobile food distribution locations. And so that's a really great way if somebody has the ability to give time. If that's not an option, a dollar donation is always great. Any dollar matters, any amount. Every dollar provides groceries for up to 3 meals through our programs, and so that's a really great way to help support what we do.
And how is this, the demand increased for services? In the last couple of years, I know as a reporter, we dealt a lot with inflation and talking about the need just growing in the community.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We have experienced a 20% increase in families visiting our mobile food distributions in the last year. At the same time, our donated food items have been down, and so we've had to fill that gap by purchasing food, and that puts a little bit of a strain on the budget, but we do anticipate with inflation still going, the potential for a government shutdown, that need may increase as we go through the next several months as well.
And what kind of impact does Feeding South Dakota have on the families in our community?
So we are currently serving about 13,000 families every month through those mobile food distribution locations. Additionally, we're serving more families through our agency partners who acquire food through us, and children through the backpack program and food pantries, as well as seniors through the senior box program and some wellness pantries that we have in the state.
How are days like today, important to remind people of this problem? It could be, a kid sitting next to them in class. It could be really anybody. So days like today are really important to raise awareness.
After the last several decades, the face of hunger has really transformed. It could be any person. It could be situational, maybe a medical expense that makes it more difficult to afford groceries. And so days like today are just a great opportunity to let people know that hunger exists in every single county in our state. And so it's really important to understand what your neighbors may be going through and do what you can to help them.
And the people who are giving back, why do you think that they continue to put effort in? People like you who are putting that effort forth.
Yeah, well, we're South Dakota, right? I mean, we want to help our neighbors, we want to support people and help them thrive, and really food is an essential. If you are worrying about where your next meal will come from or how you're going to feed your family, you can't really move forward and focus on the job you need to get or the transportation you need to find. And I think that here in the Midwest, we're just great about doing all that we can, if we're fortunate enough to do so, to make sure that other people can be successful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Stacy.
Thanks for having me.